For what purposes does Mr. Cohen seek recognition?
Strike the last word.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, sir. I took theater and drama when I was in college, one course. And I was told the first thing you have to do is have the willing suspension of disbelief. The Republicans obviously took that course over and over and over again. And they don't, I mean, they're the Fifth Avenue crowd. They've talked about Sondland. That's the man the president appointed as his ambassador to the EU. That's the man he said was a great guy. That's the man who's still employed. And Sondland said they were all in the loop. Pompeo, Giuliani, Mulvaney, Bolton, they were all in the loop. And it was about the quid pro quo. It was about having an investigation announced on CNN, and then you'll get the military aid. And Sondland told in Warsaw, one of the aides to President Zelensky, you've got to announce the investigation. It was a strong arm. They did it. And where do we get these people in the loop to testify? They've been asked to testify. The president says no. He won't let them testify because he knows that if they tell the truth, it will hurt his case because they know that they held up the military aid. President Zelensky has no choice. He needs America to protect himself from the big bear, Russia. They say he hasn't said that he felt pressured. Well, A, he's an actor, and B, he's a politician. And he depends on us. He has no choice. And so he can't say that. But you knew it, and he told people, and he knew the aid was being withheld. They knew it on July the 25th. There were communications from the embassy that have been released that they knew the aid was being held up. They knew it was being held up. There was no reason for President Trump to tell Sondland, no quid pro quo, I don't want anything, except for saying, I want you to testify that I told you this, because he knew that the whistleblower had come out and blown their cover. And he knew that the jig was up. So he needed to find a way to say something that would be in the record, and Sondland remembered it. And Sondland, their best witness, they talk about the three professors, three of the most respected professors in America, all of who came in here and said this is the most impeachable president. These abuse of power is one of the most serious offenses you can imagine. It's the Constitution. It's the law of the land. And if you abuse your power, that's the most impeachable crime you could be charged with. And they forget their witness, Mr. Turley, said what the president did was wrong. He didn't come in and give a clean bill of health to the president. He said you need some more information. You need some more proof. But you can't get the proof because the president won't allow his men to testify. One of them's writing a book. One of them's still an interim job. The other one's running for senator. They can't do it. The proof is there. This is the most abusive act we can imagine, trying to influence our elections with foreign interference. That takes power away from the American people, and that would end our country as we know it, a democracy, a shining city on the hill, a beacon of hope to people around the world who followed our revolution by changing their governments to giving people the power and not kings. And this is a way to revert back to a king, a man who thinks he can do whatever he wants. If it's Article 2 says, I can do whatever I want, I'm president. That's not right. When he said, I need a favor, though, he was talking about getting dirt on the Bidens. He feared Joe Biden as his primary political rival. Michael Cohen told us the president doesn't come out and say exactly what he wants. He speaks in code. That's the president's code. Michael Cohen knows it, and Michael Cohen is in prison now. Individual 1 is not in prison because individual 1 could not be indicted because of the Justice Department's policies that say you can't indict a sitting president. But Michael Cohen, who is in prison because he facilitated the payments to Ms. Daniels and the payments to Ms. McDougal. You talk about abuse of power. Abuse of power is having a charitable foundation and taking advantage of the charities and using the money for your own purposes and having to pay a $2 million fine and not being allowed to be on a board ever again because you don't have the character to be over a charitable foundation. Abuse of power is ripping off people at Trump University and paying $25 million. I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back.